Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
How dare you?
I double dare you, motherfuckers!
Checkity check. Audio good. Connection there. I hope it stays like that. Because yesterday, believe it or not, I had some troubles with connection. Ahoy, Ouch My Junk. Ahoy, Mrs. Sarge. And welcome everybody else. My name is Ike. This is TAGN, the angry game news, the real game news on this platform. I'm still waiting for others, but Rumble at least seems to be like very hesitant to get real information of the gaming worlds. Sometimes here and there you get on certain shows some news, but not in that amount like you get it here. TAGN, 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So yeah, we have a lot of little news. Not like anything outstanding or so, but we need to talk about it. You have to be like on the pulse of time. I think that's how you say it in English too. Sarge is on his way home from dock. He is listening in the car. Is his gender-affirming surgery going well, Mrs. Sarge? I've been getting lunch ready. I'm day drinking. Wee. Okay. Tin Rabbit is also here. Here is the news. Everything is crap. In gaming news? No. No, not everything. Oi, Bimo. In gaming news, we have sometimes like uplifting stuff. You can decide for yourself what you see today. Is it good or bad in your eye? Marathon stolen art issue has been resolved. I reported that from pretty much day on. So Marathon, Bungie, the company behind the Marathon, which is like a remake. It's like a reimagining of the original Marathon extraction shooter with androids and all that crap. But that's not the point. I reported on it that when they released the first like longer trailer, they stole art, assets and all that, and they pretended like, yeah, that just went by, man. I don't know how that happened either, but yeah, it was not our art. We're gonna change everything in the game, in the trailers, blah blah blah. And the artist finally solved this issue with a Bungie and Sony actually, and seems to be happy with that solution. Bungie's Marathon was reported to have used stolen art, but the matter has now apparently been resolved. The artist who originally brought the claims against Bungie has now announced that the issue has been resolved with Bungie and Sony Interactive Entertainment to my satisfaction. No further details were divulged regarding the nature of the matter and how this closure came to be. People are theorizing that the artist received a settlement payment, but that is not confirmed. Most fucking likely. Otherwise, why would they settle anything, really? Maybe she got a job at Bungie's. Maybe she is now like a fully employed, gets like a salary that would be a good, even better outcome maybe for her. I don't know, really. But money was involved in some regard. I'm like, I would say 99% sure some money changed hands there. Yes, going very well with the gender-affirming surgery. Mrs. Sarge said, the news is good, the reading is shit. So far the reading was okay. What the heck, Bimo? I thought we were friends. I need to make a list of words Ike struggles with. There was no word in here, though. No word in here. We're gonna see that sooner or later. But for that, you need to be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. to see my struggles. My struggles. I'm gonna write a book about that. Seems like a good plan. Sacred, last pixel of Ancaria announced. Sacred was just launched with the remaster of Sacred 2 remaster. I finally managed to play the game, the remaster version. Unfortunately, it doesn't behave like I have it in memory. Like gameplay-wise, like controlling-wise. Visually, everything is fine, but yeah, it is a little bit weirdly controlling. That's what I can say. But we're gonna get a new secret, which is Lost Pixel of Ancaria, and it seems to look nice. I like. Usually, I don't like a lot of those. Let me reload the page. Those pixel arts that look like too much of mobile games. In this case, I'm kind of fine with it. It is just a short little video to show you what they are trying to establish here. How about high resolution? Might be just a nice game. It has kind of like a lot of details, despite being just pixel arts, but I think it has a lot of details. And it plays in the world of Ancaria of Sacred. And you see some characters, some classes, and the Seraphim lady, which you see also in the first and second game. And I don't remember in the third game, probably, but the third game is like dog shit. Don't try to play that. Don't give them any money. I mean, it's not being made anymore, so you're most likely just gonna get used versions only on discs. But yes, that's like what you see, pixel art style. And it's gonna be a Kickstarter campaign. So if you want to support it, if you want your name to have it in the credits at the end of the game, go help it out, I guess. It just looks nice to me. I'm looking a little bit forward to that. Might be a neat little game to spend a few hours in it. What is Mien? Mien struggle. Mien struggle. Friends, you send rants on other shows to talk shit about me. When was that? When the fuck did that happen? This game we play. I don't remember, at least. Maybe I just said the truth about BMO, you know? But he's not being better. He's now giving me struggles. Has it got zombie Vikings in the news? No. We have a little bit Helldivers news. The Helldivers movie recruits a squad member from Fast and the Furious. Paul Verhoeven screwed imperial capitalism with his 1997 adaptation of Robert A. Heinlein's Starship Troopers, a hilarious action film where battles against giant bugs are punctuated with propaganda-packed ads. Do you want to know more? I mean, the movie is great. The first one, Starship Troopers, is amazing. Second one, I forgot. I even watched the third one, but can't remember anything of those. But the first one, it was like something revolutionary, something you never saw, like bugs being smashed by children, and to show like, yeah, the bugs are against our democracy. And the game is Helldivers is pretty much just Starship Troopers. Arrowhead Game Studios' third-person shooter Helldivers 2 perfectly captures the film's tone with its cinematics and missions, where soldiers protect Super Earth from bugs by invading their planets. Now the inspiration to adaptation cycle is coming full circle, with Sony Pictures and PlayStation Production working on a Helldivers film. And we don't need to go deeper in here, but plans are like being made, are all pretty much done. They want to bring out the Helldivers movie, and it comes full circle. Reminds me a lot of, you know, Street Fighter, the game that was made into a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that movie got a game. Feels a little bit like that, you know. Street Fighter, the movie, the game. And we go full circle with this one too, it seems. We might even see, like, when the movie comes out, based on the movie, we're probably going to get at least some DLC. I'm pretty sure about that. At least some DLC. But yes, that's the first Helldiver news. it got a little other news, which might be way more interesting for especially PC gamers. Wow, Helldivers 2's install size on PC is now 130 gigabytes smaller. Helldivers 2 on PC is a solid version of Sony's 2024 online co-op shooter. However, one significant flaw of the PC port was its massive installation size, which took up around 150 gigabytes of space and was approximately 3 times larger than the game on console. Arrowhead promised this would be cut down, and a new update does just that. On December 2nd, Arrowhead Games posted a lengthy and detailed post about the studio's efforts to make the PC port of Helldivers 2 less bloated. According to the team behind the sci-fi shooter, Helldivers 2's total installation size on PC has been reduced from approximately 154 gigabyte to around 23 gigabyte. That's over 130 gigabytes slashed, which is wild. It is very wild, indeed. Arrowhead thanked the support of Studios Nixes, which apparently helped to get the install size down to such a small amount. So why was Helldivers 2 on PC so big compared to the console ports? Well, as explained in this post from Arrowhead back in October, Helldivers 2 on PC supports both solid-state drives and older mechanical drives. In an effort to keep load times down and make Helldivers 2 more optimized, Arrowhead included redundant and repeated files so that all the drives that still spin tiny platters and seek out data wouldn't be bogged down as much. That means they had like all the data probably twice, 3 times on the same fucking installment thing going on, which is not good programming in general. You should be able, as a developer of a game, find out if the system you want to install it, if it's like fast enough. That means it's probably most likely an SSD and such, and install only this portion and not other unzipped, unpacked, decompressed files a second time just for spinning drives, which it's crazy, but that's what they did. And now they're pretty much confirming, yeah, we don't care a lot for spinning drives anymore, which they never should, because spinning drives, like mechanical drives these days, you use pretty much only for storing movies or music or anything like that. And the SSDs are not that expensive anymore either. So you can get a decent sized 2 terabyte SSD for between $150 and $200, and you're going to be good for the next roughly 2 years. Yeah, but interesting to see that they cut off so much data, 130 gigabyte, and that's gigantic, 154 gigabyte in total. The Vikings not whatever, just to watch Starship Trooper. All of them spyware. Yep, mine's all storage. Well, you seems to be poor. Poor Canadian. They can't afford all SSDs, I guess. Our Canadian representation telling us they can't afford SSDs, I think. Not really sure. But yes, there you go with the Helldivers news. Well, we're not gonna do that yet. Not yet. The horse news. The horse news. Now, I never watched this show. I don't know how about you guys. Mad Men. I always skipped over it when I had still like TV, cable, and all that shit. Actually, I had it on satellite. Certain paid channels, but this one I always skipped. It didn't look interesting, but supposedly it's one of the best shows out there ever produced. Mad Men. HBO rolls out the 4K red carpet for Mad Men by leaving the barf machine in. And supposedly there was like this little blooper that in one scene this guy needs to vomit or has to vomit. And you see the vomit machine, the barf machine, being operated by this staff member of the show. And they just left it in. I don't know if they left it in the episode or just as an exclusive material, whatever. But yeah, interesting indeed. 4K, you have it now on 4K. Mad Men is probably one of the best 10 television shows ever made. It's certainly one of the most important. It came to define a late aughts golden age of TV when the internet was full of show recaps and essays, and aspiring networks were racing to land prestige TV hits that would win awards and convince critics that movies were no longer the most important medium for the visual storytelling. So it's equally fitting in a way that the 4K re-release of Mad Men on HBO includes sloppy oversights that make it emblematic of media's current shiftification in the streaming era. The Ultra HD makeover of AMC's period drama about an advertising agency straddled the cultural revolution of the 60s became available on HBO Max on December 1st. And it includes some unique artistic choices. The most viral of those is leaving in the barf machine for one of the series' most memorable moments. In Season 1, Episode 7, Red in the Face, Don Draper suckers his boss, Roger Sterling, into a late lunch break filled with booze and oysters, and then races him up the Manhattan high-rise stairs when the elevator goes out of commission. Sterling gets back to the office just in time to puke in front of the entire agency, including important clients. So yeah, there you have it. Is that like important for you that they keep the maybe more original style of such bloopers in the re-release here? It's just wild. How did they not see that? Like it's on full display, like in 4K now. How could they not see that while making the show, even for regular TV back then? Many people still had just standard definition. HBO was like upfront with HD and full HD and all that too. But even in SD, even with, probably with some VHS, if that was ever released on VHS, you would maybe cut it on the side to make it 4:3 for old people who have only 4:3 TVs with VHS players. Then you can't cut it out, but it's, can it be more visible? It's just weird. Just got my Ultra 4K Blu-rays of 2001, Blade Runner and Star Trek Wrath of Khan win. Yeah, but still, would you prefer having something like original like that, or maybe they like crop it in this one scene just to make it a little bit less obvious? Because I don't see any appeal in that scene. In general, I don't like puking in any media at all, really. I know it's not real, but it's still disgusting overall. But wouldn't you cut off, crop it in? It's going to be a little bit more blurry if you crop in and then resize it to the same size like the rest of the show. Why would you leave that in? The show was very beloved. I know so much. But yeah, loads of extra content. Yeah, extra content on the ground now. Speaking of TV shows, I never would have thought that this one will get an international game release of this guy. Pumuckl and the Crown of the Pirate King announced for Nintendo Switch. THQ Nordic and Quantum Frog have announced Pumuckl and the Crown of the Pirate King, a 3D puzzle adventure coming to Nintendo Switch. The title is scheduled to launch in early 2026. Pumuckl is the iconic red-haired kobold from the long-running German children's series Meister Eder and Sein Pumuckl, which first debuted in 1961. The character recently made a successful return to the spotlight with the TV series Neue Geschichten from Pumuckl, as well as the feature film Pumuckl and the Big Misunderstanding. It is an old show, but as a child, I still watched that too, even here in Switzerland. And they re-released it on Amazon Prime a few years ago, actually, in Germany. And because it was on film, because they put a lot of fucking effort in this production, it looks amazing with full HD. It looks really, really good. So they took a lot of care into that preservation of that film material. So I never would have thought ever that this like very characteristic IP franchise, if you want to call it that, will get a Switch international game there. Kind of wild, because it was beloved by he was like a rascal kobold in a working environment. Meister Eder was a carpenter, so he had always wood around him, and the kobold did all kinds of little pranks, and he could get invisible and all that. Just a good, wholesome like TV show for children. So yeah, now we got a game, international games, a little bit late, like 60 years later, but still, man, come on, give them a break. Oh, you saying? Never heard of him. Now you heard it. Pumuckl, the fuck out of them. The fuck out of them? No. It's just interesting to see stuff like that still being upheld by the copyright, the license holder, and that. It's from public TV, meaning like taxpayers paid this figure actually off. Horror titans Jordan Peele and Sam Raimi, or Raimi, however you want to pronounce his name, are teaming up to turn spooky short film into a feature-length fright fest. I took this as a news today because I find it always interesting that they try to push certain creators, certain directors, writers, and all that to new heights, calling them titans. I don't think either Jordan Peele nor Sam Raimi is a titan in horror. They are very well known in today's Hollywood, I would say, absolutely. But besides, I told that multiple times too, besides Get Out by Jordan Peele, all his movies are like, meh, yeah, I get it. White people are so horrible, so frightening to you. I got it. And his movie titles are always lame too. What was the one? Us. Then the other one, I think, was Them. And after that came Him, the newest one, which with this football player, I think, who makes a deal with the devil or whatever. Like, pretty lame titles overall. And the stories, whatever, man. Calling them titans is just a little bit like, yeah, I think I see what you're trying to do here. Jordan Peele will never be a titan. His main stick and his main spiel is here, yeah, black horror. If you want black horror, just go watch, I don't fucking know, Blackula. I don't fucking know, man. Just watch Blackula. And they now taking this short movie, taking it into a cinematic, full feature length movie. I tried to watch it. It's fucking lame. I don't see any appeal to make that in a fully length movie. But what the fuck do I know? I hope this is good, but I am certain it will. I'm not certain it will be. Horror Titan Peele, please. Nope. Good old fashioned pumuckling. Pumuckling? I don't think that's a verb. It may be it may be December 2nd, but Christmas has come early for genre fans. Jordan Peele and Sam Raimi are teaming up with Universal to make a new religious horror movie, and you can watch the chilling viral short in which it will be based right now. Taking inspiration from writer-director Dylan Clark's portrait of a god, the film will presumably center on Mia Railey, a young girl who forced to wrestle with her own idea of faith, and she analyzes a painting of the titular Almighty. The 7-minute original has pulled in more than 8.6 million views on YouTube since it was posted on in August 2022. Check it out below and keep your eyes peeled. Oh, what a wordplay there! Peeled for a spooky cameo from Clark towards the end. You can watch it. Links as usual for all my articles I talk about on each day on the TAGN down below in the video description. Yeah. I think the reason why it got way more views is probably because it's religious themed, and because she analyzes like this painting and it's called the Almighty and all that. I think that just brings like regular people who search for certain terms for God, and they came across on that, and it doesn't look whatever, man. It looks mega lame to me. Zero fucking horror, in my humble retard opinion. But you can decide for yourself. You can watch it. 7 minutes. Just play it in 1.25 speed, and you're gonna be over in 4.5. Now, I was bamboozled, and I bamboozled all of you, kind of, because I thought most likely this is gonna be about Diablo 4, and Blizzard might have put a lot of money into teaming up with Jeff Keighley, because he posted about this. Mystery still surrounds Keighley's demon statue ahead of the Game Awards, as Diablo 4 and God of War teasers ruled out. Remember that demonic statue the Game Awards host Jeff Keighley plopped in the middle of the Californian desert over the weekend? Well, it continues to raise more questions than answers. When the statue first appeared, many began to guess what exactly it is teasing. Two of the most popular suggestions were Diablo 4 expansion and similar from Blizzard, or a new God of War entry from Sony Santa Monica. However, it now appears to be neither. I don't know why anybody would think this is God of War themed, this statue, and it looks demonic as fuck for sure, and it's pretty big too. Check out the last Monday's news and the articles there, with includes videos lit up in the night. I don't see anything like connecting it to God of War really, because it's too demonic. God of War always had like the underworld themed too in the games, but not like this demonic kind of underworld. The Diablo 4 expansion theory was ruled out by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, who said it was not that, but it is a good one. And I don't know why Jason Schreier is being considered here as the main authority, if it is or not. But he might know more. That could be the case, but that doesn't tell you that other people who listen to him know the same, you know. So how can you be so sure it is not from Diablo 4? Well, if Sony Santa Monica's Cory Barlog is to be believed, whatever is coming next with God of War has nothing to do with Jeff's statue. Cory Barlog was just in chat on my stream and confirmed this is not God of War related. Streamer Luke Steffens shared on social media last night. So he made a screenshot. Cory Barlog is from Sony Santa Monica, and it just made clear, yeah, that has nothing, no connection with us. I mean, he might be still, and the whole Sony team might still be happy about people theorizing about God of War, because that brings attention to Sony and their game's God of War. So they might sell just because it's again in the rounds, in the cycles of news. The title God of War itself, they might sell here and there a copy just because of that. So he probably is not super sad about such rumors. It went on a little bit more then. So we have still no real news. The last time I checked the news today was about 2 hours ago. And we have no other news so far. Jeff Keighley's mysterious The Game Awards statue reportedly isn't teasing The Elder Scrolls 6, now that was included in the newest rumors, Diablo or God of War. So what is it teasing? Jeff Keighley's mysterious The Game Awards teaser statue has sparked rampant speculation about which video game announcement it relates to, but so far the internet is stumped. And here again, this one tweet by him, this one post. It looks fucking demonic. I didn't realize the crocodile earlier on last time, but here you see actually a crocodile. So maybe that gives you more information about the game. Hard to say. But Corden's claim was debunked by Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier, who took to Reset Era to insist that the statue had nothing to do with Diablo 4 expansion. Although that is not to say Diablo won't show up at the Game Awards in some form. Now that he made this additional disclaimer with Diablo 4, that doesn't mean Diablo 4 won't show up. Diablo 4 probably has some appearance in some regard. Why would you say that? Why would you make such a disclaimer in that sense? But yes, we don't have any more solid evidence what it could be. We have more speculation, though. So what is it then? Given the demonic aspect of the statue, some are suggesting a Doom-related announcement of some kind, perhaps DLC. Some fans are going off to deep end, suggesting everything from Bloodborne 2 to Half-Life 3, the latter of which has seen rumblings of late. Yeah, many people hoped. I'm one of those that give us Half-Life 3 finally. Well, come on. In truth, Jeff Keighley's statue could relate to pretty much any video game with a demonic or hellish theme. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't probably care really, but he got money. He got money for that. How much? I don't know. If it's going to be like the main attraction of the Game Awards in general, I'm still going to stick to certain high numbers, like $500,000 for him and his Game Awards, you know. Because somebody put effort in making this demonic gate in the middle of the desert. Will there be a TAGN Awards show? TAGN Awards show. Dante's Inferno 2. I mean, many people would like that a lot. Like, see what is happening with Dante himself from now on, because at the end he meets his wife in the underworld, right? In purgatory, I think it would be like the next step actually in the Divine Comedy in the book. Lame book, as by the way. Couldn't pass the first 4 pages. So boring, that book. Written so boring. But yes, I mean, many people would like Dante's Inferno 2 for sure. About the Game Award show, I'm having like, at least that's what Studio telling me, 10 viewers who would want an award show by me. People are liking more watching cocks and fakes being up in the ranks there. So I don't think putting too much effort in my award show would be valuable. But yes, I am now wondering, what could it be? Which game Must be a game that already was in some regard announced or alluded to that it can happen. And now we're going to get with the Game Awards probably a big trailer or anything like that. But hard to say, man, hard to say. So we see just demons, skeletons, crocodile with an arm. Could be Path of Exile, maybe something Path of Exile related. But yes, who knows? Who knows? Could be another guy named Dante. No, I mean, when you finish the game, the first Dante's Inferno, he just meets his wife at the end. That doesn't mean his story is over, right? By the way, go look it up on my channel. I played it through, and you see the schlong at the end, if you're into that shit. Sony accused of using generative AI art for PlayStation Advent Calendar promo. Sony is the latest organization to be taken to task for appearing to make use of AI-generated artwork. And it looks like it. That looks very lame. That looks like somebody was in charge, maybe an intern. Yeah, we need an advent calendar for our whole system, for our whole PlayStation network. I don't want to work on it. Nobody wants to spend any money on it, but we need something. And they gave the task to maybe an intern. And he was like, I don't fucking know anything about art. I can make art myself for an advent calendar. What the heck is going on? And he just went on with AI artwork because it looks absolutely like AI art slop, which I would do if I would need to make a calendar. If somebody puts a gun to my head and just gives me the order, make anything. Okay, sure. It looks like lame. It looks like absolutely soulless, absolutely effortless, you know. And that's what you would get. Fortunately, this doesn't relate to a game and is instead part of an advent calendar promotion, which appears to be targeting Canadian, German, French, and Dutch gamers primarily. As of yet, we've not seen any reference of it on the primary PlayStation social media accounts or the PS blog. The Advent Calendar itself is a fairly straightforward marketing tool, encouraging you to complete simple surveys and promotional activities in order to earn tickets, which you can then spend on a raffle in order to be in with the chance of winning a Ghost of No-Buy DualSense or PlayStation Plus premium subscription. So yeah, they give you at least some points and you have the chance to win a controller with an ugly theme, in my opinion, or a PlayStation Plus premium subscription. But yes, it's just lazy as fuck. Lazy as fuck. They should have gotten somebody from the team who can make arts and relate to all kinds of Sony games themselves. Instead, it's absolutely generic nonsense. Like, none of those depictions are any characters of any Sony games, really. But what can you do, man? AI is being used all over the places. Lazy and lame. I mean, I expect stuff like that from people who can't, and companies who can't afford anything, really. That's what AI is good for people who want to give you something, you know, but they are so bad with making anything themselves, have not enough creativity like me, you know, and generate something with AI. But from a multi-billion company, even like the PlayStation platform is in Sony, in the Sony department, multi-billion worth, you know. I expect from them a little bit more. That's all I can say. But yeah, I'm a retard, I guess. The Sonic the Hedgehog cinematic universe keeps growing with new 2028 mystery movie. Paramount wants to keep the Sonic the Hedgehog movie machine running through 2028. A fifth Sonic movie, which appears to be a spin-off and not necessarily Sonic the Hedgehog 5, is already in the books, Variety reported Monday. We are already getting Sonic the Hedgehog 4, which has a March 19, 2027 release date and may or may not be titled Sonic CD. Why would you name it Sonic CD? Sonic CD was named because it was the first Sonic as a game on the medium CD. Like in that, doesn't make a lot of sense if you would name it CD, because it's not related, like the story in the movie is not related in that sense, like to games itself. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, if you would name that movie this way. But Paramount has now committed to a new Sonic Universe event film for the December 22, 2028 debut in theaters. It's unclear what Paramount plans to do with Sonic Universe, but after the events of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which introduced fan-favorite Shadow, a standalone movie starring Keanu Reeves' characters, certainly seems within the realm of possibility and profitability. Knuckles has already got his spin-off. Yeah, I think his show, I think it was a show, right? 8 episodes show of Knuckles, but yeah. I watched the first one, it was kind of okay. I'm not looking forward to it, but it is liked by many, and Paramount listened to the fans. You might remember the debacle, the disaster of that character face. They fixed that, and fans gave then the studio the money. Listen to fans more. That's all I can say. Mr. Stop at Arco for gas, almost home. Says, dear Sarge, Mrs. Sarge. Maybe for gas, maybe he peeked into the Turkish bathhouse, who knows? Not good enough. Biggs, the cat movie. Biggs, the cat movie? You're cut off. He's cut off. About what? Now that's kind of wild, but we have no more information. It's just like, yeah, some Japanese companies facing like big license fees. Japanese devs face font licensing dilemma as leading provider increases annual plan price from $380 to $20,000+. Just like that. Just like, yeah, you are subscribed to it, now you can pay more. How much more? Well, about 23 times more. Japanese game makers are struggling to locate affordable commercial fonts after one of the country's leading font licensing services raised the cost of its annual plan from around $380 to $20,500. As reported by Game Makers and GameSpark and translated by Automaton, FontWorks Let's discontinued its game license plan and at the end of November. The expensive replacement plan offered through FontWorks' parent company Monotype doesn't even provide local pricing for Japanese developers and comes with 25,000 user cap, which is likely not workable for Japanese bigger studios. So yeah, I mean, the cap is probably there when you make a product and you use some font, meaning if your product is going to be used by more than 25,000 users, you have to pay us this and that amount. Which, like all those bigger license companies have the kind of similar models. For example, you can use Unreal Engine completely free without any charges, whatever. and you can promote your game with Unreal Engine, whatever, right? But at a certain point, when your game is going to be bought up 1,000,000 times, or if you sell like 1,000,000 copies, etc., Unreal Engine, meaning the Unreal company, meaning the Epic company, wants their fair share in that sense, you know. Meaning, yeah, your game is very successful. It is probably because of our engine. There's no other possibility, right? Now, because you sold 1,000,000 copies, we want at least 10% or something like that. And this feels like the same method here, the same license modeling. The problem is further compounded by the difficulties and complexities of securing fonts that can accurately transcribe kanji or katakana characters. This is a little known issue, but it's become a huge problem in some circles, wrote CEO of the development studio Indie Us Games. UI and UX designer Yamanaka stressed that this would be particularly problematic for live service games. Even if studios moved quickly and switched to fonts available through an alternate licensee, they will have to retest, reevaluate, and re-QA check content already live and in active use. The crisis could even eventually force some Japanese studios to rebrand entirely if their corporate identity is tied to a commercial font they can no longer afford to license. So yeah, we have not more information really how this all plays out for certain studios. But just the fact that you're licensing fonts through a third-party company, and you were like, yeah, I can pay every year $380. That's nothing. That's okay, whatever. You make a deal with a company that probably even has not like the license, like a solely only their company has the license to this particular font, you know. But because you have a deal, a contract with them, you will have to pay now more, just like that. Just like that, because you're using that particular font, downloading it from their systems. I never thought like this. This path of licensing stuff is a good one. Get stuff like your own. Maybe make the fonts your own, because fonts are in the end are just like visuals, like artistical stuff. Actually, there are many font creating programs out there, and you can create your font however you want and however you want it to display, with vector graphing to resize and such, right? How you pay into somebody making the font for your product, or getting it like on different platforms where you just buy it once and don't give a shit ever again. Here it's a little bit more special because it is not about Romanic, Latin fonts, letters and all that, right? So it's very specific on a very specific market with kanji and katakana things there, right? So they might have something on you with this licensing model. I just don't like that. Reminds me instantly myself about certain cases here in Europe where, especially in Germany, some people just go on behalf of Google. They claim that, and they can that legally, it seems. Some attorneys, some lawyers just send out cease and desist letters to people who were caught by using Google Fonts stuff, you know, and they don't pay a license fee to Google, and they, for some reason, know that. But because Google Fonts, you can use, everybody can use Google Fonts if you have an API connection with their system. You can use all those Google Fonts. But this law firm company didn't did get hold of the information that certain other private people and smaller companies didn't bought the funds, and they just sending out cease and desist letters, and this cease and desist letter will be nullified if you pay a fine. And then they list all the fund itself, how much the fund would cost to license for this period. You got it on your homepage there. And we know, because we have Wayback Machine, we know you use that fund for that amount of time, blah, blah, blah. Attorney fees and letter fees and how many working hours they used. It's a scam. It's obviously a scam, but unfortunately, it's a very legal scam in Germany. That reminds me kind of that bullshit about licensing fees and licensing of fonts. It's fucking insane. The font industrial complex, kind of. I used to go to a site called thefont.com. I loved looking through them all. Ask AI to make fonts. Yeah, you don't know about if the AI is creating really a font for you or if it's just copying certain stuff, you know. Fantastic idea, Ike. Hooked on Fontix. I mean, at this point, if you have to pay $20,000 for using a font, you know, I mean, they have probably like more funds for you when you're in their system with the licensing. But still, at this point, pay somebody, I don't fucking know, $4,000. He has work for 2-3 weeks. Make me a font. Make me a font. Create a new font. Make a documentation that you created it and all that stuff. And we have a contract. Here's the money. Give us the font. We have the whole copyright to that one font. And we are good to go. Or just buy fonts on, I don't know, amazon.co.jp, you know, Amazon in Japan. Those CD fonts, which claim like, we have 20,000 fonts on this one CD. Maybe that will work out better for you. That's all I can say. A Japanese game studio now asks art applicants to draw a picture during their interview to prove they don't use generative AI. A new article on Japanese news website Daily Shinko focuses on Tourism Association's decision to cancel a 20-year art contest because it was becoming impossible to tell which entries were genuine human-created artwork and which were generated by AI. The article goes in to look at the other ways in which generative AI is affecting businesses and cites an unnamed mid-sized Japanese video game developer, which has changed its interview process for applicants seeking art roles. According to the source, simply referred to as Mr. B, who serves as the chief graphic designer at the studio. Anyone who now applies for an art role now has to create something during the actual interview process, rather than the previous method of submitting a portfolio showing past examples of their work. I think that's a great idea. I think that's what everybody should do. Maybe many studios already did that, like, yeah, show us something live right now and all that. But now they have kind of a policy. Yeah, you're going to apply for this job. You're going to do in the interview something and show us your talent. And if we are not happy with what we see, we don't want you in our company. We don't want to waste money on somebody who cheated their ways up in the industry pretty much. I think a great idea. Great idea. Just keep it like that. Keep AI slop away from getting into your system. There are many people who claim that artwork generated by AI is their own creation. We've actually ended up hiring such people only to find they weren't productive, which led to several problems. Yeah, first problem is like you're spending money, you're wasting money at this point giving somebody a salary and they are just giving you jack shit. And if they have a bad internet connection, their AI will not create jack shit. And I don't know, yeah, how can that slip in the first place? I think you will be discovered in the first 2-3 weeks already, because usually when I make a game or make a movie or an anime or anything in creative, I have like orders for you. I may order like, yeah, give me a character and give me an animation of this kind, and the character should be blonde and should wear like tight jeans and all that, and it should look like this and that character from previous games, whatever, right? And AI doesn't understand that very often, like in particular. Like a normal artist would understand probably certain orders from their superiors in the team or whatever, but AI can't make that description always come to life instantly, you know? It's just weird to me that they slipped with their fakery through everything so far. Because of that, we've changed our hiring process, and it now requires candidates to draw something in person during the interview to verify their skills. As a recruiter, it's a huge hassle, and it feels like we are going backwards in time. But I've heard that several other companies are doing the same thing. Do we even need to hire creators when generative AI is good enough? We should be hiring people who are masters at using generative AI. So if you hire somebody, he's telling us, Mr. B here, that you should be at least like a real good AI generative guy who knows instantly what you want from him and such. I think we need more of that now, especially in the dawn of AI slop. That's not gonna go away, that's for sure. But we need to fight more against it, especially when it involves like products, like finished products by bigger companies in particular too. You know, we need to get away from AI slop, and that should be like what's driving customers to the cashier and buying your product. Real products, not AI generated slop. Dear Sarge came in. He is at home now, I guess, saying to everybody, hi. Say back hi, everybody. Skate players upset about new update that makes everyone look like a stoner. Oh, those poor people who get something for free. Getting out the visuals changed, and this is just one picture here. That's how it looked previously. Now it looks a little bit darker, more inclusivity, I guess, and a little bit stoned. Like a little bit, yeah. Oh, skating, yeah, cool. Let's go skate, everybody. EA's live service reboot of Skate, which launched back in September, is continuing to expand and improve. The skateboarding game's second season is out now, and fans mostly appreciate the new content and changes. But a lot of players aren't happy about their in-game characters suddenly looking sick and tired after Season 2 went live, with some jokingly referring to them as drug addicts and stoners. Why the faces look so tired and weird? Gould! Look what you did to my face. Look at my face. Look at it. And yeah, it's not being shown right now. Okay, let's go to one of the original tweets here. Maybe they deleted it. I hope not. But you already saw one of the pictures. Not only like a little bit more tired, but also the skin color. Obviously changed here. Obviously. Oh, no, they deleted it. It was a dude. and he looked completely different. I agree. He looked kind of sick, like a drug addict. Now the only question is, why did EA do that? On the other hand, like I said, the game is free. It's free to play, and you can skate. And does that matter a lot to you? How the character of a free game really looks like? Whatever, man. But it's news. It's news. Many people are not super happy about the changes. Also changing like eye colors too. Like it was a template, and they just changed the whole template. Weirdos. How big is that? Did I miss anything good? Yes. You have to rewind and watch it. How about that? Oh, here we have another one on Reddit. Also looking very sick, right? I don't know. He is sniffing something he shouldn't have sniffed. I don't know. Looks weird indeed. There's another one. Very stoner guy. Maybe that's the whole like theme of the game. You can't be a skater if you're not a stoner too. Sounds like a Dear Sarge game though. He is the biggest stoner out there. He loves the smell of weed, by the way. Am I right, Sarge? What would be the worst for Sarge? I think the worst for Sarge to like witness, to see as a human being, would be a Mexican bum, a Mexican homeless guy who sprays and who is a stoner. And with spraying, I mean literally spraying some bridges or some shit. That would be like his worst enemy in society, something like that. Like a Mexican stoner, homeless stoner who is spraying around. Meth head. Lips and the nose changed. Red Dead Redemption PS5, another subpar re-release from Rockstar. For all the money it earns through GTA Online, you'd think Rockstar would put at least a little bit more effort into the re-release of its past games. Apparently not, though, as the new PS5 version of Red Dead Redemption is probably about as bare bones as you can get. Just like the older PS4 re-release from a few years ago, you get the single-player campaign of Red Dead Redemption along with the Undead Nightmare expansion in this package. There's a free upgrade for current PS4 owners, and it's also available via PS Plus Extra and GTA Plus. Now enhanced for PS5, the current gen version only takes advantage of Sony's console in the most basic sense. You get a 4K resolution at 60 frames per second, with improved draw distances, HDR support, and some enhanced image quality. The improvement seems to stop there, though. I think those are kind of decent improvements in my opinion, like higher resolution, 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, HDR support, improved draw distance, you know. What else do you want? More story? Despite the PS Store listing for the title stating it supports vibrant function and trigger effect in relation to the PS5's DualSense controller, our testing has found there to be no evidence of any use of haptic feedback or adaptive triggers. Yeah. What exactly do you expect from the game on your controller? It probably does just the regular vibrating, like it was previously the case already. I'm not getting here. I'm not sure what I'm missing here, but this magazine, this portal, seems not to be super happy with this re-release, despite stating it got all kinds of visual improvements, which I think are more important if for a re-release than having every little function of your new PS5 DualSense functionality, you know, implemented in the game. Like, what would you expect? Touching like the touchpad on the PS5 controller, and then you feel the horseback? Whatever, man. Which smells worse than your mom? Well, you don't know how my mom smells, so could be. Well, not yours. Not yours, ouch, my junk. Little more news on that issue, on this front. We all know by now, should know, at least if you're listening to this great newscast here, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm giving you like hardcore game news here. I told about that to everybody, that EA is going to be bought up by the Saudis mainly, but not only. Made a whole show about that pretty much. Now we have a little bit more news, how much the Saudis actually own of EA in the future. EA will be almost entirely owned by Saudi Arabia if sale goes through, according to the new filing. According to new filings, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, or PIF, is set to own the vast majority of EA if the proposed record-breaking acquisition goes through. And it's a record-breaking acquisition because for that amount of money, there are not a lot of companies or corporations bought up and then made completely private. You know, many other companies were paid more to be bought up, but they still were like tradable, like on the stock market. This one is not going to be like that. These filings, discovered by the Wall Street Journal, have been made to Brazilian antitrust regulators. These filings suggest that Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund would own 93.4% of the video game publisher. It's not only a publisher, it's also a developer. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund is making this attempt to acquire EA alongside private equity funds Silver Lake and Affinity Partners, the latter founded and owned by Jared Kushner, son-in-law to President Donald Trump. Silver Lake would own 5.5%, while Affinity Partners would own 1.1%. Even with only 1.1%, that's a lot of money of those $55 billion they need to put into this acquiring deal here. But yeah, now we have more information. The Saudis with the PIF, with the Public Investment Fund, are over 93% owning this new private company. Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. How are you, John? Saudi EA means no gay stuffs in Sims 4. We don't know that yet, because I told multiple times too, the Saudis have to open up to the world. Otherwise, they will just go under in the Agenda 2030. They need to become a little bit more gay, a little bit more open. They would lose probably too many fans of certain IPs, of certain games, if you don't put in a little bit gayness here and there, you know. Just passing by. Have a great stream, Mike. Okay, John. So yeah, I mean, we have to wait. That's going to take time. The deal is going to be finished probably early next year, completed, all the contracts being signed off by every party here included. Money has to be transferred, whatever, right? So it's going to take a few months from now on still. But nobody can be against it. Nobody can like stop it at this point. The governments just need to look over, is everything going all right? Is there going to be a monopoly established with this acquiring? It's not going to happen anything, because EA is still like EA. It's just going to be privatized, and just the private owners is going to make money in the future. Very simple. It's not going to be tradable anymore. And they're going to pay out a lot of money for each share, $220. That was the last number we heard. So yeah, let's see how that goes. I would say in 3 months, we know more about plans, what they're going to keep on releasing, what they're going to change completely, if they're going to go with strict no-gay policy. I mean, I personally would welcome that, but it doesn't matter too much to me either, you know, because I'm not going to buy a lot of EA games anyway in the future. But yeah. Get pumped. Maybe he's going to stream. Sims 4 goes Islam. Okay, understood. Yeah, making beat up your wife on the streets in front of your house you just created. Getting 4 wives, the new DLC there. 4 wives DLC, I don't fucking know. Tencent pauses Light of Motiram promotion as Sony's legal showdown approaches turning point. We talked about that multiple times too, and so like the main story goes this way. Supposedly, Tencent, the Chinese company, went to Sony, said like, look, we have already created most of this game, and it looks very much like one of your Horizon games with Aloy, you know, hunting those metallic creatures, you know, and moving on with the story about that, blah, blah, blah. Our character looks pretty much the same like Aloy, red hat, hunter, you know, all the machines, living machines, you know. Would you like us to partner with you and we produce this game under the brand, under the name of Horizon something? Sony supposedly said no, and that's where it all started. Sony then filed a lawsuit, which you're gonna see here too again, mentioned. And now they are just halting everything. Sony is not approaching further steps towards suing Tencent. And they can now go into discovery, but not too deep. Last summer, Sony filed a lawsuit against Tencent over Light of Motiram, a game that formally alleges is a Slavish clone of the Horizon franchise. Now the two sides have apparently struck a temporary deal ahead of an important court hearing that may determine whether the case goes forward. As reported by the Game Post, a new filing in court acknowledged that Sony and Tencent have been engaged in discussions in order to resolve the current dispute. Most notably, Tencent asked for more time to respond to the motion for an injunction, and Sony agreed in exchange for certain concessions. We don't know really what was the deal there for now. The filing also notes an agreement between the two sides that Tencent won't ask for expedited discovery in connection with the primarily injunction against Light of Motiram. It also calls for Tencent to hold the game to its Q4 2027 release window rather than moving it up. And with moving it up, like releasing it earlier. At least that's how I understand it. Tencent also argued that it wasn't liable for any damages because any previous discussions about Horizon game or even the development of Light of Motiram were done by subsidies owned or partially owned by Tencent. Sounds like a bullshit excuse, like it was not the main company Tencent who was like in contact, who asked you certain stuff, and who made the game in the first place. It was not Tencent in itself. It was more like this subsidiary company here who did certain stuff. We had nothing to do with it. Yeah, but aren't you the owner? That's at least how I understand this whole thing. In response, Sony accused Tencent of playing a legal shell game to avoid the repercussions of infringing on its intellectual property. And I think Sony is very right with that. Like, yeah, sure, just because you're a subsidiary company there made a mistake, a big one, doesn't make you not liable. It's your company still, just with a different name. So all bullshit in my humble retard opinion. Weirdos. They are all weirdos, man. All weirdos. Almost to the end here, everybody. Fresh Resident Evil Requiem footage indicates a return to classic zombie-infested form. Yeah, I hope so. I absolutely hope so. Fresh footage of Resident Evil Requiem was shown on Japanese television, and it's very reminiscent of classic series gameplay. The footage was part of a special program and has been shared on social media by series insider Dusk Golem. It's only 30 seconds long, but it shows protagonist Grace Ashcroft exploring a creepy mansion in third person, shooting at zombies before being grabbed and nibbled on. Specifically, it looks very reminiscent of Resident Evil 1, although that's likely not the iconic Spencer mansion we'll be exploring. Thus, Golem clarified the footage will be from a censored Japanese version, which typically censors headshots and dismemberment, for example. And it's nothing too special. We just see a little bit like more of the game. We already had a few gameplay stuff roaming on the interwebs, but we see now zombies. I think that's the first time we see like regular zombies. Ah, チラチラチラ。
その開発現場では新たなコン
ヘッドショット。
やみつきになる恐怖を打ち出し、
恐怖
体験への没入感をさらに高めようとしている。
Just by the looks of it, of this very blurry footage, it looks very Resident Evil 8-like, which is a good sign. Overall, it's a good sign. Resident Evil 8, good game. Resident Evil 7, good game. It feels and looks kind of very similar. Why change anything up that already was proven to work very well? So yeah. But we saw regular zombies this time. I'm looking forward to this one, like many people are. And Capcom, yeah, still one of the more traditional game developer out there still. Kind. 4 wives, eh? Yeah. You need every day a different wife. Now, this was in the news already multiple times, but we got new development. And it's another good development for the makers, but yeah. Banned by Steam, 100,000 in the hole and facing shutdown. Graphic horror game dev now dropped by Epic Games Store roughly 24 hours before launch. Thank you for the following there, Kanaidan. Horses, developer Santa Ragione is very intentionally upsetting horror game about naked, censored humans in horse costumes has been banned by the Epic Games Store just 1 day before launch, after Epic said it would promote and support the game when it was banned by Steam following a content review by Valve. Santa Ragione shared the news on Blue Sky. Why not on X or Gab? Why only on Blue Sky? So I'm gonna just keep away from this game myself. But you're gonna sell now more, I guess. On the heels of the game's release on GOG, Itch and Humble for $4.99. Yesterday, the Epic Games Store decided at the last minute not to distribute the game after having previously approved a release build, the studio says. Yeah, it's a really shitty move by Epic. That's why I kind of don't like the game, whatever I saw of it. It's not a game for me, that's for sure. But Epic is becoming a scumbag company too, more and more. Not only Epic, Steam kicked it off first, from their platform. But Epic, like they said, yeah, we're gonna fucking help you out with the release. And one day before you being able to release it, you just say, yeah, fuck you. We don't care about you. How many more signals you need that Epic also is not there really for developers and gamers? In an updated FAQ in the situation, which also describes the funding hole to the studio, is after investing 2 years and $100,000 into horses. That sounds like a regular price for horses, 100,000 doesn't seem like super expensive if you have multiple horses, right? With the studio now facing likely shutdown, the developer says this decision arrived mid-evening on December 1st, roughly 24 hours before launch, giving the team effectively zero time to make any changes that might clear the game for release. Well, did they tell you what you should change? Also, now you have maybe more clarified requirements by Epic and you can still release it. I don't fucking know. But why would you want to release it on a platform that gave you first the okay and then 24 hours before release, fuck off? Why would you want to make any changes in the first place? In a statement to IGN, the studio says Epic's decision comes after the overwhelming support Santa Ragione received last week upon the disclosure of Steam's ban, including the public announcement by Epic's and Steam's competitor GOG that they would promote and support the game. We do not know what triggered Epic's sudden decision. Following the announcement of Steam's ban, horses became highly visible online, with strong support and small but vocal opposition. It is difficult not to wonder whether this visibility played a greater role in Epic's choice than any newly discovered issue with the game itself. Yeah, you are in the news since roughly a week, something like that, with this game being banned from Steam. I think you're going to be all right. I think your studio is not going to close. I think you're going to sell more than you initially would have sold. I still believe that. Hello, and forth and back. Sweet, always wonder if anyone ever sees those. What? Sees what? The Four Wives? I went through last night and unsubbed from some huge news channels because they were clogging my feed and couldn't see friend stuff. Yeah, that's what I did from the very beginning. Not following every schmuck out there. But thank you for the following there. I'm also a schmuck, but I'm a good schmuck. Where was I? A content review from Epic and shared by Santa Ragione says the game was found in violation of Epic Game Store's content guidelines for inappropriate content and hateful or abusive content. I get the hateful part, maybe, depends on the topic, on the content, but abusive content, like, it's a game, it's completely generated game with real life actors, adult actors, How can that be abusive in the first place? Like, sounds like X bullshit right there. If you just write faggot in one post to nobody, it's gonna be hateful. It's going to be hateful content. Respectively, these cover content that contains explicit or frequent depiction of sexual behavior or not appropriately labeled, rated, or age-gated. I mean, he made pretty clear from the very beginning on, it's a game for adults, and it depicts only adults, you know? So Epic here, again, very dishonest in my humble retard opinion. And content that promotes abuse and animal abuse. Yeah. Digital figures, characters, polygons. No animals are being hurt. But Epic seems to not see the line of reality and games at this point. Weird. Additionally, Epic says the IRC, International Age Rating Coalition, returned an AO adult only rating when we, Epic, filled out the IARC questionnaires based on the content that we reviewed. Epic says the only exception for AO rated products which cannot be distributed on Epic Game Store is for cases where an AO rating was applied solely due to the usage of blockchain or NFT technology. Sure. You never had a game that had like this adult rating. Really. You can get to The Witcher 3, fantastic game, one of my favorite games ever, Witcher 3. You're going to slice up people, you're going to half people, you're going to behead people, you're going to see tits and ass. You're going to get Cyberpunk 2077. Those are just the most like out of my head examples here. You're going to get violent adult games right there, you know. But you are pretending now that's going to be animal abuse in this one game because it's called Horses. And you are in a horror game, and it is about horses. You're being on a horse farm for about 2 weeks and witness all kinds of horrors and shit like that. But it's still fucking a game. It's a very obvious fucking game. It has a very obvious topic of horror, like being on a horse farm and witnessing all that horror on this fantasy thing with adult characters. But yes, you have on Epic, The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, violent games, adult games with nudity, with tits. And if you have like good movement, you can even see poon. But yeah, that goes too far because horses. So much bullshit, man. So much bullshit. Horror or horse? Both. Just seeing the trailer, it is porn. I mean, maybe it's like more nudity, whatever, but I don't care. It's not like that's also anything new. Just the rating is there. It's for adults only, whatever, right? I'm an adult. I have zero interest in this game. It looks to me like nothing interesting. But yes. Has maybe some porn stuff in it. Whatever, man. Whatever. Either you're for freedom of speech and adults being adults, you know. If you want to give them your money because it's appealing to you, whatever. Why has Epic to decide that shit? All of a sudden, it's an issue. Just weirdos. Adult actors or adult actors. No, he made the maker, Santa Ragione, made many times clear it's all the characters, not real actors, or even depicted as older than 21 years old. Can you believe him? What? I don't know. I'm not playing the game, but I'm just trusting him in that sense. Like, if he tells me that, it might be the case, and whatever. It's still an itch, you know? itch has had those bigger problems with payment processors, right? And they don't allow any games on their platform. And now they seem to change all of a sudden and allowing porn games. I'm just not trusting Epic. I'm trusting Epic less and less as time went by. Santa Ragione says multiple builds of horses had been submitted and reviewed by Epic in the past 2 months, with the final achievements ready built approved 18 days ago. These launch torpedoing issues were evidently unreported until extremely recently. The strongest evidence of this short notice may be the fact that Horses is still listed in the Epic Games Store at the time of writing, with coming soon. Maybe Epic just being a dick company, you know, maybe they're waiting. Oh, this game has actually some kind of success on GOG, and yeah, we're gonna see that in a second here. Maybe we're gonna just release it anyway on our platform to make a few bucks here too. Penciled in for the release date. An enigmatic first-person horror adventure that blurs the line between reality and the darkest corners of your imagination. The Epic approved description reads, the studio also dismisses the alleged content violations, reiterating that the game is a strong critique of violence and abuse in general, affirming that there are no explicit or frequent depictions of sexual behavior, and repeating that all nudity is fully censored. Okay, if you say so. But the phrasing of this paragraph by the Santiago, or whatever his name was, sorry, sounds a little bit, if anybody remembers that, Cuties by Netflix. You know Cuties, right? You have that in your brain, where the creator said like, yeah, we wanted to show with this degenerated movie how degenerated the society is in that regard. How good did that work? Might be the case that he is very honest here and just wants to show certain stuff and not depicting any pornographic really, but just nude bodies which are censored according to himself, which was weird. Oh, TAGN. I've been 100% wealth-free for years now, and I have no regrets. Fuck wealth. I have no issue with that statement. Sounds like A-okay. Masturbation can be animal abuse, choking the chicken. Dear Sarge has some experience with chicken choking. I don't know. Is his wiener big enough to choke a chicken, Mrs. Sarge? She has to confirm or deny. I don't know. It's all digital make-believe. No, in this game, certain actors, like it was like a real live footage by actors, just like many other games have these days. You know? But yes, then again, if he says it's everything just with adults, I have no like way to prove either way if that's the case. I'm just gonna give him the benefit of a doubt, you know, just believing him, trusting him on his saying here. But yes, again, the game is nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. It looks lame. It looks like boring to me. Horror my ass in that sense. Horror my ass. No, don't horror my ass. Dear Sarge, calm down. Maybe ouch, my junk is being horny right now though. Hearing that. Because Epic has no desire to be associated with it. Epic made a good call. Epic? Fuck Epic. Epic is by Tim Sweeney. Tim Sweeney can go suck all the dicks. I mean, not mine, but he can go suck all the dicks. He's a fucking retard. Like a major retard, a fucking prick. I hate this guy. So his platform is the same fucking retard platform like Valve these days. Just has less games than Valve on Steam. You have 3 feet of snow yet? I don't know, maybe. I wish we had 3 feet of snow. It makes everything calmer. Snow tones down like aggressions very, very effectively. I've been 100% free. I've read that. Barely in it. 40 Farron. Fucking global warming, man. Maybe that retard Swedish girl was right. No, she was not. Absolutely not. How dare you? That's ouch. Yeah, be the first. How could you, dear Sarge? Chicken? I usually choke his chicken. Did Mrs. Sarge just called dear Sarge Wiener chicken? As a youth, I may or may not have strangled my rooster. But it was like a zombie. It never stayed dead. Okay, good to know that. Blue pill? Asks Kenaidan. I don't know. I don't know. I never saw him swallowing any pills, actually. So, it's up to your fantasy. The 3-hour game features only 4 brief and censored sexual sequences, with 2 of them happening mainly off-camera, according to Santa Ragione. Previous section flagged by Valve, which originally featured a child riding the shoulders of one of the horses, has long since been updated to replace the child with an adult. I mean, it's, again, you mentioning child, yes, okay, fine. People making associations in their heads are absolutely normal. But it's a horse farm. It is about a horse farm. You are supposedly working on this horse farm. And at daylight, children ride horses on horse farms. Just saying. Nothing is special there. But he was like, yeah, I have no issue just changing the child into an adult. It's not real still. So otherwise he would have fought against that, you know. He would have fought, but he wanted the game to be about the game and not about the child and all that shit. Much like Valve, Epic says it reviewed the studio's appeal but stands by its decision to ban the game as is. Santa Ragiana says it's unclear what it would need to change, even if it had time to make those changes. Yeah, maybe ask them. Maybe ask what is wrong. Just ask. We'll still need to play horses for ourselves to see the meat of the game, but the rhetoric here, the creators openly interrogating difficult themes and disturbing material through graphic art, only to be deplatformed and arbitrarily deemed unacceptable, even as legions of suspect porn games enter many of these same game stores without issue, is especially striking in the fallout of the payment processor-led censorship wave that hit PC gaming earlier this year. Yes, I mean, that's a good point. I have to give Games Radar here at this point. You can still get Sex with Hitler. Dear Sarge, go get Sex with Hitler on Steam. And Sex with Hitler 2048 or some future Sex with Hitler. Which you get, it's going to be some kind of isometric shooter. And when you succeed, you can bang your soldier bitches there. And it is very sexual. It is bang those chicks. The title is what it is. Sex with Hitler. All those Japanese anime ladies can have all the sex with Hitler. Those games are still on Steam, so yeah. A little bit hypocritical by Steam in particular, in my opinion. Early reviews of horses are rolling in from multiple respected outlets and writers. And what do you know? It seems it isn't the devil himself after all. Oh, it's not Hitler? It's not Sex with Hitler here? It's just really, really weird and proudly not for everyone. Different horses for different courses, I suppose. But I'd wager that's small reassurance for Santa Ragiana as it battles this red tape. Okay, still, I don't care about the game. I don't care for its success. The game is 0 for me. Whatever I saw had 0 appeal to me. I don't want to install it. I can get it for free if I want to. I have my means, but I don't even want it for free. But all this happening around this one particular game and this studio, and the studio being in debt $100,000, blah, blah, blah. All those headlines, the banning, and people talking like we see it right here and right now on this newscast. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, TAGN, the Angry Game News. All those outcries by you and all those platforms, I think made the game a little bit more popular. I think you're going to sell more than you initially would have sold. I'm going to stick to that statement. I have 0 proof of that. I can't tell you because I don't have like the sales numbers. But it's bestseller right now since it was released today on GOG. Better than Stalker, better than the other cheap games, The Walking Dead, the Telltale Definitive Series, better than Breath of Fire, better than The Witcher, better than Cyberpunk right now. It's outselling all those titles for today. Probably tomorrow it's not going to be at the top anymore, but it's probably going to be still in the top 10. Just because, you know. For $5, you can have your horse horror. $4.99. It just looks boring to me. That's all I can say to it. I have 0 interest in it. But I think because we talk about this one as had 55 reviews, let's refresh after 3-4 hours since I put it up. 77 reviews, pretty high rating, I have to say. You know, the rating on GOG is pretty honest overall. Like, people will give games shitty ratings if the games don't work right and such. So I think it's gonna have success. I think he's gonna pay off those $100,000 debt. Pale Rider. I just find that the art style also very boring. I really, I don't see any appeal in this. It looks just whatever. Probably all the furries going crazy. All the furries who are into horses, you know, because usually furries you have like dogs, cats, and foxes and wolves. All those faggot shit. Now finally some horse furry material. Something like that. Gotta run to town. Y'all have a good day. Bye, Canadian. That Hitler guy really gets around. Why the fuck would I want sex with little anal Adolf? Oh, because you like sex with him? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I just gave you a suggestion. You don't need to follow my suggestion, my advice. But if you're into sex games, Sex with Hitler is still on Steam. That's all I can say. Anyhow, weird kind of news today, especially about this horses game. But that's what we get. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. I collect the news of the last 2 days. In that regard, 2 p.m. Eastern, I talk about those news. Mainly about video games, which we had quite a lot today. And I hope I'm going to see you again. And speaking of seeing you again, you might see me tomorrow again, actually, before Friday. Hopefully I can continue Final Fantasy VII. The original, you know. because we just arrived at this amusement park. You know, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be kind of fun. Yeah, everybody, have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Enjoy the rest of that day. Thank you for being around. The chat was great today. Much appreciated. You being around, chatting with me and with each other. That's what it is about, the news and you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.